Yo, 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 what it is, what it was, what's it gonna be?
Welcome.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Gen Expertise Podcast, episode 32, entitled Food Era 404, Healthy Not Found. We are your hosts, Main and Rance,
Welcome.
a.k.a. we bringing this one back. The Veggie Brothers, yo. We
The
bringing this
Veggie
one
Bro-
back. One night only. One night only. One night only. Yo,
I think we gotta explain this a little bit to people. For people that haven't been following as closely as others, we have to explain this whole Veggie Brothers
Yeah,
thing.
for our day 32s. This is for our day 32s, yo. So Maine and I were kind of ahead of the curve when we wanted to do a food review Instagram page and podcast too. I mean, not podcast, but a YouTube channel. It was a YouTube channel, right? And we want to
Yeah,
call it.
I think the
It
original
was
idea was
YouTube.
for
It
a
was
YouTube
YouTube.
channel.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
YouTube. Podcasting wasn't even really big then. And we wanted to call it the Veggie Brothers.
Very catchy name.
Very catchy name. The Veggie Brothers
Yeah.
or Veggie Bros for short. But it didn't quite come into fruition. But today we get to bring it back. We got to bring the name back today for the people out there, man. So you can check that
one
out
time only.
in our one time only, man. One time only.
And you gotta tell them so just to tell y'all a little more context
Little
on this, right?
backstory, yeah.
The Veggie Brothers was a time where we thought we were gonna do, like Rand said, a YouTube series where we would go around to vegetarian restaurants in New York City and kind of review their food, right? So one day we went, I don't know how far we went in the city, but we went all around New York
Went
City.
all the way down
We
to
tried to
Alphabet
find
City, Lower East Side,
yeah, we tried to find as many vegetarian restaurants as we could, and we
Union
just went in
Square.
and ate at every vegetarian restaurant we could find, but we did it all in one day. I think we overdid it for one day.
Absolutely.
I think we might have done more with it if we had a chance to spread it out, so to speak. Like if we had done like one restaurant at a time. But me and Rance decided to take a whole day and go around the city trying a bunch of different restaurants.
And walking while we walked, we made sure that we walked after each meal to the next spot,
Right.
so that we could burn off
so we could
some of
burn
that
off so we
food.
could burn off some of the food. Like we would walk to every spot, no matter how far it was. We would try to walk as far as we could. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a crazy day. But
Yeah.
needless to say, the Veggie Brothers never came to fruition. It
Nope.
didn't get past a Instagram page. If you can
It sure
find
did
it,
not. Yeah, you
there's
can
probably
find it
still
somewhere in the Instagram.
there's still an Instagram page somewhere out there for the Veggie Brothers. So if you can find it, let us know.
Oh, and side note, one of the places that we did go to actually just closed down last month, recently closed after like 23, 24 years. Red Bamboo. We went to the place, the Red Bamboo. That's where you had the like the chicken cutlet, the fake chicken cutlet.
Yeah,
We had like the soul food. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. By that time, I was full.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so they actually just went out of business, man. I was sad to see those guys go. You know, shout out to Red Bamboo. Maybe they'll open up another time, another place, but
Yeah.
food was good, man. So any native New Yorkers out there, vegan, vegetarians, that ever been to Red Bamboo, you know what we're talking about. So that's the Veggie Bro origin story.
Right.
in a nutshell. Other than that, what's going on, my friend?
Same old, man. I took a golf lesson today.
To the
and
driving range we went.
Yeah, went to the driving range, had a golf lesson, me and some buddies from out here. We decided that the next few Sundays we're gonna go take golf lessons, right? And it was all right, man. Like my back is killing me right now.
Yeah.
It's hot out here already. You know what I mean? It was probably like 80 degrees plus. No shade, no shelter from the sun, So it was hard, but it was good. It was worth it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, I was sweating my behind off. So but yeah, we'll do it again next Sunday. But yeah, it's cool, man. I want to learn how to play, because somebody was talking to me about the opportunities that you miss when you don't know how to play golf.
Mhm.
You get invited out by people that that, like sometimes they say
Many
that
business deals are
business
closed on a
deals are
golf
done on
course.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Business deals get closed on golf courses, and if you don't know how to play, you're kind of missing out on quite a bit, right? Like, so I just want to learn how to play enough to be okay,
Hmm.
or enough to be really bad at it, but know how to play. But yeah, so that was something cool that I did this weekend.
They say it's a very addictive sport, golf. That's what they
I'll,
say.
I'll let you
You know,
know.
I
I've
had
been
a
trying
client.
to get to it for a long time, and I haven't gotten addicted yet. I've been going to driving ranges and taking lessons, and I'm not addicted yet, but I guess we'll see.
I had a client who played so much that his wife gave me his full bag of irons and his a golf. So I have a whole bag of golf clubs in my house that one of my clients gave to me
Whoa.
because he played so much, and they were cleaning out the house, and she was like, "Yo, you got to get rid of the golf clubs." I think he had two or three different sets. So I have a whole
Wow.
set of golf clubs in my house, and maybe I'll just save them for the kids.
Yeah.
And to just when the kids go, they're sitting
Well,
right in
sell
my.
them. That's a good little bag of money if you sell that on eBay or something.
You know what? I never thought about that.
You know,
But if one of my kids decide they want to play, they got some
yeah,
startups,
yeah.
because golf is an expensive game.
It gets really expensive.
Yeah. So I have a question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
I'm gonna read you off some ingredients, and I want you to tell me or try to guess what the item is.
All right. Yeah, this
All
sounds
right.
fun. Yeah, I'm
All
ready.
right. All right. All right.
Let's do it.
So we have vegetable oil, canola, corn oil, soybean oil, hydrogenated oil, dextrose, sodium acid pyrophosphate, salt, hydrolyzed wheat, hydrolyzed milk, natural beef flavor. Pause. Uh, one guess, brother. What would you guess that is?
Only get one guess.
One guess, bro. One guess.
Did you say beef in there?
Yes. Natural beef flavor.
Um, is it ramen noodles?
No, but that actually would be a good guess. Ramen noodles has about everything under the sun in it. No, these are McDonald's French fries.
No way.
Yes, yes, sir.
Come
Yes,
on, man. Don't tell me that.
yes. And that's not. I purposely left out the potatoes because the potatoes in there.
Oh man.
But that's the only thing I did leave out was the potatoes. So you have four different vegetable oils, something called sodium acid pyrophosphate, which maintains the color, hydrolyzed wheat, hydrolyzed milk, and natural beef flavor. Those are McDonald's French fries.
Natural beef flavor?
Yes. Yes. Because back in the day, McDonald's only had a few ingredients. It was potatoes, salt, and I think beef tallow. They used beef tallow. I think it only
All
had
right,
like
so
three
they
ingredients.
replaced they
So they
replaced the beef tallow
beef
with beef
with
flavor?
natural beef
Natural
flavor.
beef flavor.
Yes, natural beef flavor.
What does
That's
that
what.
even mean, man?
Who knows, man? Who knows? But that's how we start off today's
Oh
episode
man.
of Food Era 4 for Healthy Not Found. So this is like one of our series because we like to do series here in the Gen Expertise podcast. We've done movies, we've done books, we've done TV, and now we're doing health and wellness. We have a little health and wellness. We did the Get
Are you
Fit
sure?
or
You
Die
sure?
Try.
Are
Absolutely,
you
son.
sure?
Yes. Well, you must have had some McDonald's fries today. You had some
Not
fries today,
today.
did you?
Not today.
But
Not
recently,
today, but probably
in the
recently. I'm ashamed to say because I knew there was something like a lot more to the McDonald's fries than just potatoes and salt.
yeah,
But I guess after a while, you kind of ignore that sometimes, and they're McDonald's fries, right? Like you grew up on them. You know how they taste pretty good. They're pretty addictive.
yeah,
So I
exactly.
think I think sometimes I just kind of forget that, or I just put it out of my mind. And every once in a while, you get a craving for those fries, right? But when you read off the ingredients like like that,
Yeah.
It just seems crazy to ever eat it again. You know, especially since I know how to make fries
Yes.
myself,
Hmm.
and and if I'm just not lazy about it, if I get a craving for some French fries, I could certainly make them myself.
Yeah, and a far more healthier version than that.
Yeah,
So that's kind of the gist of what we're going to be getting into today. We talked about health and exercise. We're going to talk a little bit about food now and how basically the food that we have today really isn't as nutritious as it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Definitely not as nutritious as when we were growing up. So that's what today's episode is about. So I just thought I'd start off with that, just to
by
just to get the
ruining
get
McDonald's
the
fries for me. That's how we're gonna start it. Nah, I'm just kidding. But I knew
yeah.
that there was something up with those fries. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, sometimes you just get a craving for those fries,
Yeah,
and
food is a drug now. Food is
I
literally a
guess
drug
that I
now.
guess that's the point, right? Like, is that I do get a
Yes.
craving for them, even though I know that it's not just potatoes and oil and salt anymore.
Hmm.
I still every once in a while will go out of my way to get them, right? And I guess
Yeah.
that's the point, right? Like they make them like that, so you do get that craving, so you do keep coming back, even when you try to knock, you try to you try to knock that habit,
Hmm.
you'll be back.
Yes.
I guess that's a big part of the whole point of this.
Yeah, and the fact that it has four different oils, like how many different oils do you need to, right? And these four oils are four of the what they're called the hateful eight oils. Hateful eight. Those are the those are so they have half of the hateful eight. And then
Wait,
then
so
there
so so read it off again. What's the oils? Just the oils.
the oils are canola oil,
Yeah,
corn oil, soybean oil, and hydrogenated oil, and just plain old vegetable oil.
right.
You know?
Yeah, you're right. Like, what's the purpose of having that many different types of oil
Yes.
to fry some French fries, right? And then if you have all those other oils, why do you need hydrogenated oils? Because for those of you that don't know, the hydrogenated oil is the oil that at room temperature will actually turn into a solid.
Hmm.
Um, like if you have your I don't know if how many people out there have had a can of Crisco, like
Ooh,
on
that
their
white lard.
that white Crisco can, or the
Hmm.
blue, actually the blue Crisco can, but the white
Hmm.
creamy
The white
oil
lard on the
inside.
inside. Hmm.
And but be careful, it's not lard, right? Because lard, the funny thing about you
No,
saying
lard
lard,
is actual
yes,
natural fat.
that's why that's why that's
That's
why I
right.
like
That's
when you
right.
call it lard, it's I know you're being funny, but it's
Yeah.
like, but the irony of that is that lard is actually natural, and
Hmm.
with that hydrogenated oil is actually processed to the point of being dangerous for you, right?
Yeah.
And at room temperature, it turns into a solid, right? So it's definitely not good for you to be putting in your body. That Crisco oil, and I grew up
Yeah.
on it, right? Like I think a lot of
Yes.
us did.
My
You grew up
grandmother
with that
used to
can of
make all her
Crisco.
pies. She used to do the pie liner, line the pie with the pie crust to make the
Yes,
pie crust
yes,
into one stick.
right.
Yeah.
My father
Hmm.
would do that. Like when my father was big on making desserts, right? So he would grease the pans with that Crisco oil. He would make biscuits with that Crisco oil. You name it, man. Like whatever whatever you could make with it. And then the crazy part about, I shouldn't say crazy, but like I think the traditional part about this was that you would cook with that grease, right? Then you'd
Hmm.
put it back in the can, or you would
You
have
put the
a
it'll be
spare can.
you'd have a spare bottle or a can
Yeah,
with a
you'd have the
label on
can
it.
for the used grease,
Hmm.
right? And then sometimes you would use that again.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, this is gonna be a sad episode. It's gonna be one of those morbid, not to be morbid episode.
It's
We ever say like not to be morbid, but
not
do
to
you
be
know?
morbid, but
But
you
you know
know,
it's killing you, right?
it's very
This is a
bad for you. Like
on
this
this
is the
very
grease.
special episode of Gen X. Maybe you should listen to this one with your children.
Yes, yes.
You know,
And they
it's
always
one of those
say,
special
"Don't pour that
episodes.
grease down the drain because what it would do to the drains."
Yeah, don't pour it down the
Meanwhile,
drain,
you're
but pour
putting
it
it
down your
down your
gullet.
natural drain.
Never mind pouring it down your gullet
Yeah.
or cooking with it 10 times before you throw it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, make sure you don't put it down the drain, but it's okay to cook with it over and over and over.
Over
You could
and
you
over
could cook
and over.
fish with it, cook chicken with it, use it to grease your cake pan,
Just
but
transforming those molecules into
but
all types
but
of
don't you
new.
dare put it down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You gonna
man.
clog up the
Shout
you
out
gonna clog up the plumbing.
yeah, shout out to all the baby boomers for that.
Yes. Yeah. They did make fantastic pie though,
They
boy.
make good pies. They cook that and they cook their behinds off, right?
They
Like
sure
that
did.
Crisco. I'm not gonna lie, it tastes great, but I think
Yes.
again, that's part of the point of this, right? Like that these things taste great and they're made by people that know they taste great, right? Like you
Yes.
have food scientists in charge of this. This is
Yes.
not by
Literally
accident.
literal lab coats. Mm-hmm.
Right. It's not an accident that these things taste good and that they're satisfying to you and they keep you coming back, right? Like we talked to, we joked about the McDonald's fries, but there's a reason why they taste the way they do. There's science behind that. And there's people that are behind the scenes know what is gonna keep you coming back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But yeah, go on, man. Like there's gonna be a very
Yeah.
special episode of
If
Gen
you
Expertise.
if you think about it, there used to be they used to kind of make fun of this stuff in the 80s. I don't know if you remember the old Breyers commercial where they would have a little kid reading off like the ingredients of other ice creams, and they would be like
Yes.
polysorbate
Yep.
80. Remember the
I do remember
polysorbate
that.
80?
I do remember that because Breyers prided themselves on only having a few ingredients, just like cream and sugar and
Yes.
whatever the flavor was. Like it would be like cream, sugar, and strawberries, right? And that
Yes.
would be it. Salt, like
Yes.
and that was
Absolutely.
it. Maybe five
Yeah.
or six ingredients at the most. And then all the other companies that were kind of rivals of Breyers would have all these chemicals, and it was barely ice cream, right?
Yeah. The irony of it all is that, and this is kind of what inspired me on this episode.
Right.
There's been a trend where you see people like putting their bread underwater and it won't dissolve, and ice
Right.
cream, running Bry's ice cream underwater and it doesn't melt.
Really? We sure about that?
Yeah.
So if I get a regular, like say I get a regular like pint of Breyers ice cream or something, or a quart or
That's
whatever.
mm-hmm.
So if I get a regular vanilla ice cream, you saying that I haven't looked at the ingredients on any of this stuff in so long, right? But
Aha,
are
yes.
we saying that a vanilla Breyers ice cream is no longer natural? Like we're saying it has all those
Yes.
chemicals in it now.
Most of it, so this is the thing with marketing also. It's not marketed as ice cream, all natural ice cream anymore. They changed the name on some of them. I believe they do make one still. If you find the one that says whole milk, I think
Uh-huh.
that's the one that has the less ingredients. But all of these new like cookies and cream and all these flavors, they're not considered real natural, all natural ice cream anymore. They're called like ice dessert or cream dessert or something. As they
Even
changed the name.
Breyers?
Even Breyers is sold out. So you can go and check and see if they still make their 100% all natural. You know, the one with the vanilla beans and all of
Right,
that. It
right.
was just, but even now they've submitted, and they their ice cream isn't 100. All of their ice cream isn't 100% ice cream anymore. And food scientists, you know, the old saying that they say you can't mix oil and water. They have literally found a way to mix oil and water now, and that's basically what polysorbate 80 is. It's a emulsifier and a stabilizer, mostly used in ice cream, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals, which
Huh.
allows oil and water to mix.
Jeez.
Yeah,
You're gonna get us
yeah.
sued by McDonald's and Breyers. That's
Yeah,
all
we
that we're gonna get a cease and desist from
of course this
McDonald's
is for
Empire.
educational purposes only, and
All right. What company's up next? What big giant mega corp are you gonna criticize next? Let's do this. Let's go all in.
so these are just some of the things that are in today's food that
We're coming
that
for
would.
you, Burger King. Next.
Oh, I have one more. I have one more. I
Yeah,
have
let's go for the
the
next one.
the
Who's
the
next?
ADA, the azo dicarbonamide, azo dicarbonamide. There you go, azo dicarbonamide. That became famous a few years ago when remember when the woman found the ingredients in the Subway sandwiches?
What?
Yeah, there was a woman, I think she's called a food babe, I believe. And
Mhm.
she's a mother who she goes over ingredients of foods and restaurants and fast food chains and show you exactly what's in. And she came across this chemical, this ADA, azodicarbonamide. Yeah, in some of the ingredients in the Subway sandwich bread. And that is the same material that they make yoga mats with.
No way,
That was big
man.
on
No
the
way.
news. Yeah, that she made it big with that, and
Subway's
Subway
coming for you, Rance.
well, the damage was already done, but but they actually removed it. They removed that from their breads.
But what was
Um,
it? What was it used? Like, what was it? A
so
preservative? Is it a preservative? Like,
it's
what?
check this out. It's a dough conditioner.
What for? What? Condition it for
Exactly.
what?
It improves the texture and elasticity. It's commonly used in plastics, synthetic leather, and shoe rubber.
Nice.
It's not only
Jeez.
did Subway use it, but it's been found in close to 500 food pod products, everything from Pillsbury dinner rolls to Little Debbie snacks.
Jeez.
So that's why when they tickle the little Pillsbury Doughboy, and he snaps back, he snaps right back, and it's a little pudgy
It's because
belly.
of
He
that.
snaps right back. It's because of that ADA, that azodicarbonamide.
Yeah.
So these are the
This is
things in our
getting.
food.
Yeah. This is getting
Yeah.
scary.
Yes, and it's right here in front of our faces.
This is crazy.
Yeah, it's in over 500 foods. Now, we discussed how when you go overseas in other countries, these ingredients are not allowed. If you look at the ingredients in what we sell here and the same product that these same companies are selling abroad
Right.
overseas,
Right.
they're not putting these ingredients in their foods. Like their ingredients literally have like 3 or 5 ingredients. So they have the ability to do it, but they're just not doing it. And we're not making that big of a deal about it because we don't read ingredients.
Right. Yeah, because I know that I knew that for certain cereals, right? Like that was one where it stuck out to me.
Mhm.
Because obviously my kids love cereal, and I saw a video one day where they compared the ingredients of kind of like like let's say Fruit Loops.
Mhm.
Fruit Loops here has a lot of different things in it, obviously, and then when they show the ones that they're able to sell in Europe, it's all like natural ingredients. Even the colors are made from actual like vegetable juice or
Yeah, like
some other
carrot
like
juice,
right, like it'll be like beet juice for the
for
color
the
red or
bread.
something like that. Where here it'll be like we're still using like red dye for 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 our colors, right?
Red dye
Um,
40, yellow dye 5, blue 30, whatever. All of the
yeah, like all of the colors and numbers, that you can think of to chemically make our cereal colorful,
Mhm.
is not allowed in Europe, and I find that interesting, right? But to me, it has something to do with like the lobby, the food lobby, where you can't really, even if me and you argued about it, or if we went and protested this, or we went and complained,
Mhm.
um if the food lobby says that this is a way to make food cheaply and to sell more or to make it taste a certain way, and the food lobby is going to be more powerful than any of our voices at this point, which I find kind of scary. But like you said,
Mhm.
and a lot of us are not really reading the ingredients on this stuff, because sometimes I'm not, I'm guilty of it. I'm not reading the ingredients on all this stuff, and I know for a fact that things have even changed, like you said, like between the last 5, 10, 15 years. A lot of things that we used to eat as kids that we think are okay for our kids, if you look at the ingredients list from back then and look and compare it to now, a lot of these companies have changed the way they even make the old school products that we grew up with.
Mhm.
I was thinking about like I think you and I talked about this one time a while back, but like Gatorade. Like one time
Yes.
I saw I saw an old bottle of Gatorade, and it had to have like maybe four it had like maybe four ingredients in it.
Yeah, like
You
sodium. It
know,
had all the electrolytes,
like all
sodium,
the
potassium,
electrolytes, like
potassium.
lemon,
Yeah, lemon flavored.
lemon lime, like
Mhm.
actual lemon lime water
Yeah.
electrolytes, right?
Yeah.
And
And even
now,
that was made in a laboratory. You know the story behind Gatorade, why they call it Gatorade, right?
yeah, because of the coach for the Florida Gators, he
The
started giving it
Florida,
to the players, like,
they
so
was
they could
giving it to the
replenish their electrolytes, right?
yeah, and the science department came up with it and called it Gatorade. The science department at the University of Florida.
But at least they
Yeah.
came up with something that was, like, not harmful, right? But
Yes.
now it feels like now it comes in a electric blue. I don't even know.
There it is. Then
That yeah, that's kinda my least favorite. Whatever they're doing to make things like that electric blue, is kinda my least favorite thing. Whatever makes, what's the blue raspberry
raspberry.
is insane to me. Like, I don't and a couple of times I had to sit my kids down as they're looking at me with their blue lips and blue tongue from eating from eating some candy.
Blue
I'm like, "Listen."
fingertips.
Yeah, like blue fingertips, blue face. I'm like, "Hey, do you know, like, what in nature is this color? Like, what fruit is it?" And they're like, "Blue raspberry." I'm like, "No, no, no. Like, there's no raspberry that's electric blue. This thing is these things are blue like remember Tron, the first Tron movie? It's like that same color blue that they use for the
Like
for
they
the for,
radiate.
yeah, for Tron's uniform. That's what this stuff looks like. I'm like, how do they get this color? How do they even make this color?
Yeah.
But I see it all the time, like blue raspberry on everything. They got blue raspberry candy, blue raspberry gum, blue even on Pop Tarts, they got some
Yes.
icing that's that same color, right?
Yeah.
Lollipops and stuff. Yeah, it's just I don't mean to go on a rant about that one, but like that's my whoever made that needs to cut it out. Like, that one's a crime, I feel.
Yeah, the blue raspberry.
That blue raspberry makes no sense to me. Yeah, that's just my personal editorial on that, but
Yeah. Side note, it does taste pretty good too. That's the bad thing about it.
well,
I
what does
know
it
that
taste? Does it taste
that
like
blue
raspberry?
raspberry.
What does it taste like?
It tastes like sugary berries. Who cares what color? That's what
Tastes like
it.
Smurf berries.
That's like the boo berry back in the boo
Like,
berry cereal, the Frankie
yeah,
berry with the
blueberry.
blue boo berry.
That's the
Hmm.
bluest stuff that we had when growing up.
Yeah,
Blueberry,
man. Yeah. So these are
raspberry.
the things. That's what food has become a science experiment now, and also with the rise in allergies, especially. There weren't no such thing as like peanut allergies when we were kids like that, bro. Like who had peanut
I
allergies
don't know.
to a
Yeah,
certain to
like
this extent? Mm-hmm.
I don't have the numbers on that to be honest with you, but I do feel like the prevalence of that has gone up. Like just anecdotally, like when you look around, there's a lot of kids that have peanut allergies. My
Yeah.
kids have nut allergies.
Mm-hmm.
They have fish allergies. At least my
Yeah.
son has a fish allergy and a nut allergy,
Mm-hmm.
and so my daughter has the nut allergy, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, like I don't know. Honestly, I don't know the science behind all of that, but it does feel like that has gone up, and I really don't know. Maybe you could tell me, but I don't know if that has a lot to do with um kind of the rise in the food science and chemicals and what you know things that can't even be considered food if you really read the label, right?
Yeah.
Food should
So,
be like nutritional, and
mm-hmm.
it should be like kind of beneficial to your life, right? But
Yeah.
but what we're ingesting, me included,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm guilty of this, but we're ingesting things that I don't even think could be considered food in the textbook definition even.
In regards to the peanut allergies, I know that they did a study and peanut allergies from the year 1997 to 2010 or 2011. I'm off by a year on maybe one or both. Peanut allergies rose by 400%. 400% between the years of 1997 and 2010. I think I'm almost positive it's 2000. Yeah, it's 2000. It's 2010. But I also read that it has decreased by 43% with the inception of introducing peanuts to like your children at younger ages. But 43% of a 400% increase is still pretty it's just
Yeah.
pretty bad. One of the things that I that I did read that they think has something to do with it is they started doing crop sharing.
Hmm.
And they started crop sharing and using peanut crops and cotton on the same field, same ground. So when it was in cotton season, it was peanut season. When it was in peanut season, it was cotton season. So they were interchanging the same plot of land with these two crops. They call it crop sharing. And on these crops, they started grow this, they were growing this like GMO cotton, this genetically modified cotton. And they believe that what may contribute to the children's food allergy is all of the herbicides and the pesticides that they were spraying for the cotton that was still in the same soil that you're growing the peanuts out of. So they think that that has something to do with it.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's definitely probably the chemicals. And this all like happens around the same time, like 1997, when they started like cross crop sharing, well, crop sharing as they call it, and using these two particular crops in the same area. So they believe that that's one of the contributing factors that has something to do with it. But like I said, the percentage is down by 43% as of 2025, as of last year. I've even heard of doctors prescribing Reese's peanut butter cups and Reese's Pieces to children. This is a true story. One of my clients, their son had a peanut allergy, and the doctor, not a major one, but he had a peanut allergy, and they literally had a pill bottle with with like Reese's Pieces in it. Yeah. Yeah,
But
so and they gradually introduced it to him. Like they had to give him a quarter, then they had to give him a half, and then they started gradually giving him
I see.
one, and then they
I
gave
get
him
you. I
two.
get you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the
So they did it
exposure,
almost like a steroid. Like if
you got to
some,
build up an immunity.
yeah, as they introduce like steroids, some like really powerful steroids that they
You
may
know,
introduce to people, they do that, like a quarter of the pill, half of the pill.
right. You know what's interesting about that? Like, it's funny that you mentioned Reese's because recently I started seeing stories that they can't even really call it peanut butter with, what they're putting in the peanut butter cups because they're using so little peanut butter and
Yeah.
so little actual chocolate that they
Mm-hmm.
can't really advertise it as a peanut butter cup. Like,
Yeah.
because they're using some sort of peanut butter cream now,
Yeah.
and whatever they're using in place of chocolate is just like chemicals and sugar and probably
Yeah.
some
Oil
sort
and
of
water.
yeah, oil, like, so yeah, it's probably just some oil, colors, and it's not even enough cacao in it to call it chocolate, right?
Yeah.
So
So it's like
a lot of
chocolate
companies, I heard
food
Cadbury's
now.
suffering from the same thing. Like, yeah, Cadbury's having the same problem, right? Where they're gonna have to stop calling their candy bar a chocolate candy bar at this
Hmm.
point, right? Because they're using
Yeah.
so little cacao to make it that it's not really technically chocolate anymore.
Yeah. It's like those velvet, it's like the Kraft cheese slices. They used to have cheese slices, but then they started calling them cheese food and cheese product, the cheaper versions of it that you
Yeah,
would get, because it
yeah.
was basically oil. It was like oil and fat.
Well, yeah, it's basically oil and it is like milk. What do
It's
they
milk
call it?
derivatives,
Yeah, it's
what they
milk
call the milk
derivatives and stuff like
derivatives.
that.
Hmm.
And I don't want to disparage them because I still eat Kraft singles.
Yeah, you had a grilled cheese.
Oh no, maybe you should do this episode with somebody else, man, because
Somebody.
'cause this is what is hurting me, man. It's hurting my feelings. It's ruining nostalgia. But yeah, go on.
This is all stuff that this is all stuff. I mean, look, I'm guilty of well, I don't eat this stuff anymore because I follow a strict vegan diet. But um I do too enjoy a grilled cheese sandwich made with cheese food instead of real cheese, like back in my heyday. But we're putting more chemical in food than food into our bodies nowadays. And they're starting early, so it's food is becoming a drug, and they're targeting our children. They're trying to get us hooked at the as early as possible, the earliest ages. I'm sure many of you have heard. If not, this is something new for you to hear, how they strategically place food in the supermarkets where all of the worst foods for you, the candies, the cereals, the high sugary snacks, the soft drinks are on low levels, eye levels, so they're on children's eye levels. So the children, small children, can see it first, where the healthier options are up a little higher for the adults, but they
Right.
want to make sure that if you go into the supermarket with your child, they're seeing these sugary, high fructose corn syrupy filled, um, hydrogenated, oily, delicious foods, and they start clamoring for it, as well as advertising it on TVs. We grew up watching these things during our Saturday morning cartoons, being advertised like Ilio's Pizza and and Polio string cheeses and all of this crazy things, Pop Tarts,
Wait,
and
paleo string cheese is not real cheese?
I don't know if it's real cheese anymore. It might not be as much. You can look it up. We can look the
Man.
ingredients up. We can look the ingredients up. You know what? I'm gonna go on the record to say that I can't yay or nay that, because I'm not sure. But since it still says polio string cheese, the last time I checked, we'll call it cheese.
All right, fair enough. I'm gonna have to check that out myself as well because I think it is. I think it's actually just mozzarella cheese though. The
Uh-huh.
paleo string cheese. I think that's still just mozzarella. But I have to double check. And but a funny thing, like not funny, but like something that you just reminded me is that you know me and you follow like some doctors that are kind of have become influencers right online, right? And
Mm-hmm.
one of the common themes around that is that when you're shopping in a supermarket, they usually suggest that you shop in the perimeter of a
Mm-hmm.
supermarket, right? If you
Yeah.
really want to stay within kind of like the boundaries of real food, so to speak, you
Mm-hmm.
should be shopping on the perimeter, right? Because that's where the vegetables are, that's where the
Yes.
meat is, and whole foods are tend to be on the perimeter. And then as you get closer to the middle of the supermarket, the more almost processed you're getting, right? Like the closer you get to the middle, you're
Yeah.
getting more processed, right? That's where you're getting like your cereals and your candy and your desserts and your
Mm-hmm.
bread, bread with like 1,000 chemicals in it. That type of thing is in the middle of the supermarket, but around the perimeter, even if you're looking, like say you were looking for bread, the perimeter is where the bakery is too. Like
Yeah.
anything you could think of in terms of like the whole food alternative to what you're looking for is
Mm-hmm.
most likely on the perimeter, not in the middle of the supermarket. And that's just like kind of a
Maze, like the junk food maze, just going up
right.
and down the aisles, up and down the
Yeah, like
aisles.
once you start going up and down the aisles, you're most likely gonna. That's where you're gonna encounter. Not, I'm not saying that's all they have, but that's most likely where you're gonna encounter the more processed stuff, right? But if you
Yeah.
go around the perimeter of a supermarket, it's funny, but if you do that, you do find that that's where Whole Foods exists, right? Like that's where the veggies and fruits are usually around the perimeter. The
Yeah.
meat the meat section is around the perimeter. The little deli section is in the perimeter. The actual bakery where they're actually baking
Mm-hmm.
breads and stuff like that from scratch, and they're not putting as many preservatives and chemicals in that because they're baking
Yeah.
it using the real ingredients. That is all in the perimeter, right?
All the
So
perishables.
yeah, anything perishable, anything that's an actual whole food tends to be around the perimeter of the supermarket rather than the middle.
And if you notice when you go up and down the aisles, um, they'll pair something that's healthy, air quotes, with something that's like super unhealthy. So you never go into a whole aisle that's just water. You notice you go, it's like water and juice, and the soda and the juice is everything. It's all,
Right.
and the water has like one small shelf, but both sides are on one side, and both sides are lined with like juice boxes, sodas. If you
Mm,
go into the oatmeal section, the cereal section, usually it's one little shelf with, if you'll have like your steel cut oats or your regular rolled
mm,
oats, but the rest is the Frankenberries and the Captain Crunches, and then it's the and then it's the oatmeal. The healthy oatmeal is right next to like the boxed Quaker Oats oatmeal, the one that comes prepackaged with all the sugar, like the cinnamon and spice, and the
Right.
strawberries and
Maple.
creams, and the peaches and cream, and the maple and brown sugar. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
The,
Those are
the
good
apple,
memories.
the
So
apple
apple cinnamon.
cinnamon, the apple cinnamon.
Yeah.
Can't be that
Yes.
bad for you.
So even if you escape the matrix and you go into an aisle and you look for something healthy, you're gonna see like 30 items before you get to that water, yo. And the last line of defense would be like flavored water. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be like soda, juice, more juice, juice soda, flavored water, carbonated flavored water, and then they'll have like one little row of like your Poland Springs or whatever water, whatever water that you have. And
Yeah. I
so,
don't know. I have to look for that honestly, because I guess I'm not really. Yeah, I'm not as conscious of this
yeah.
of all of this as I should be, and I have to look for that because um when especially when it comes to like stuff like that where they're putting the unhealthy option right next to what you would consider a healthy option. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna start paying more attention to that, and I have to look for that
Yeah. So
because
you
because
can't
that's
escape.
that's an interesting one.
Yeah, you can't escape the aisle if you're like, yo, I'm just gonna get some water. You go in there and
Yeah,
you're like,
you're gonna have the temptation.
yeah, you gotta walk past all of the 700 different new Hawaiian punches. You know what I mean? Like, how many more colors is Hawaiian punch gonna come in? It has
They,
yellow, has
they got a
orange.
blue one too.
They have a
I'm sure
blue. They have a
yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure they have a yeah. I know they got a blue
They
one.
have the green.
They
They
got a
have the
green
green
one,
one.
a
They have
bright
like
green
the
one.
the antifreeze green colored one.
Got the Air Max 95s green. I'm like, what? How did they make this color? How does this color even exist?
So these are
Got the Vault green juice.
it's and then you have the Sunny Delight, which is like
Oh man, the
which is
classic
like
killer.
the
That was
classic.
always no good for us. That's the OG of
Yeah, the Sunny
Sunny
Delight
Delight
was
is
the
up there.
thickest juice. Not even we can't even call it
It's
juice.
not
It was the
juice.
drink.
I don't even think it ever called itself juice. That's
Nah, it
the
was
funny
just
thing,
Sunny
man.
Delight.
40 years ago, they didn't call it juice. It was
Yeah, it
just
was
called
just Sunny
drink, like
Delight.
Sunny Delight. I don't think it was
Yeah,
ever called juice.
Sunny Delight tasted like concentrated. You know how I said before, the concentrated juice with an eyedropper of water in it.
It tasted
That's
like
what.
like
So
struggle. Like it tasted
yes,
like
yo, it was
it
like
tasted like orange flavored struggle. Like like,
ice
like
cold Sunny D in the
yeah,
fridge.
man, ice cold.
Yeah,
It didn't even really get cold. It didn't even really get cold when you think about it. Is when people joke about Hawaiian punch, like you could put ice in it, but it doesn't actually get cold. You're fooling yourself when you put ice in Hawaiian punch because it's not even getting cold,
the ice
and
cube doesn't melt.
it's not quenching your thirst.
Yeah,
Like it's making, it's one of those drinks that make you thirstier.
yeah,
Like it's designed so no matter how much you drink of it, you need more because it's never gonna quench your
yeah, man.
thirst. That's how
And,
I felt about Sunny Delight. And people used to be when I was a kid. We used to be outside and people would have little Sunny Delights. Like they would have
mhm.
like
In their lunch boxes, or
yeah.
if you was in
So
camp or something, you'd have it. Yeah.
if you're in camp, some kids would bring it outside, like just on a regular day. Like you might be outside playing, you might be playing basketball or something with your friends, and somebody will have like a little Sunny Delight, or hit the store and get a little one, or a
Hmm.
big one, even worse.
A
Like
big one and just walk out in the street with it and
yeah,
just drink from it.
sometimes we might put our money together, get a big Sunny Delight, right? Not knowing that it's never gonna help with your thirst.
Yeah, son.
Like if you're thirsty, that's not what you need to quench your thirst, right? Like we're drinking Sunny Delight. Yeah, shout out to Sunny Delight, but
Yeah.
y'all
And their
know that. Y'all
commercial,
know that's
they
not
did the commercial with the Sunny Delight, not that purple stuff. But Sunny
man.
Delight really was that purple
They
stuff
had some
undercover.
nerve. They
And
had
then they
that.
came out with the colored, like I think they came out with a purple Sunny Delight or
Did
something.
they?
I think they came out with
They're
another
playing
color
in
of the
our
Sunny
face.
Delight.
Yeah, they're playing in
But
our faces.
they would reach in the fridge and be like, Sunny Delight, not that purple stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But in
I remember
reality,
I remember the commercial where the kids run up to the fridge and like, "Oh,
and they
we got some whatever, like purple stuff and
yeah,
Sunny D. They even wanted to make it like sound hip
they
and
made it hip.
cool. Oh, it's Sunny D now.
They
Like
made it
Sunny
sound
D
like a
is a
rapper.
gangster. Yeah, it's a rapper, all right. Sunny D. It's a gangster that'll kill you. Like, that's what Sunny D is. Sunny D. It's not even Sunny Delight. It's Sunny D. Be careful of Sunny. Stay away from Sunny D.
Stay away from it, yo. Food kills me. So they marketed it to be healthy. Meanwhile, it was basically the purple stuff in disguise. Great marketing. If you got it, you have to respect the marketing because Sunny
And they
D
never. I don't
was
think they ever called
delicious.
themselves Juice. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, it
Just we
probably
could do a
was
facts
just
over
Sunny
funny,
Delight.
but I don't
Yeah.
recall them ever like they never lied and said that they were Juice.
Or they
Right?
said Sunny or orange drink or something like that. And
Oh
then you had
man, man.
the tang which you could mix, and they made you seem like you made it healthier by mixing the powder. The
And
tang,
remember
yeah.
they used to tell you that this is what astronauts drink a
Astronauts
long time
drink?
ago. Like that
Yeah.
we thought that this is what the astronauts drink. We didn't really
Yeah.
know about marketing and commercials back then.
We
But
thought Neil and Buzz was drinking
yeah,
tang while they were
y-
going to the moon,
yeah,
yeah.
you thought astronauts drink this, so it must be good for your kids. It must be good for us,
Mm-hmm.
to drink right before school. Have a nice big glass of Tang.
Yeah.
Your kids can make it themselves. They could just bring down that big container and just mix it up in some sink water and you got faucet water now and this orange sugar mix.
Yes.
Oh
Just to
man.
think they've had a healthy breakfast and then they go to school and fall asleep. By 9:30 a.m., you get a call that your kid is nodding off in class because you
Yeah,
done
so
loaded
so
them up full of
so
sugar.
so this has been going on for a long time, man. Because we're talking about something that at least 40 years ago we were suffering from
Yes.
the same problem, right? Like we were being we're joking about it, but it feels like we were purposely being marketed these things that were quick solutions. It almost feels like our generation, and I don't want to. I can't say this for sure, but between I feel like our generation was heavily marketed these fast solutions, right? I don't think it started with us, but
Yeah.
it definitely kind of ramped up and accelerated with our generation. Like when we were kids, there was a lot of like really quick solutions to things, man. That's when you got your 4C like iced tea mix
Oh.
and you got you got you got am I bringing back good memories?
Absolutely, son. That
That 4C.
4C.
But seriously, like you got your 4C and your Tang and your, you know, like that type of thing became a staple in a lot of our households. Like I'm sure a lot of people can relate. Like people our age, you can relate to this because if it felt like everybody's parents started looking for these quick solutions because you got working parents, you got a bunch of Gen X latchkey kids, and you want something in the house that the kid gets home, your parents are not home, they're working, that they can whip up quickly, right? Or
Pop
in the
in a hot
morning,
pocket.
right? Or in the morning,
Mhm.
they can get up and just make it themselves really quick, so you don't have to worry about what they're gonna have. You just, you make it so it's easy for them.
Mhm.
Um, so a lot of kids wind up with cereal and Tang and Pop Tarts and um, yeah, it just felt like all that stuff was just super convenient, but
Mhm.
we're trading, healthy options for convenience, and it felt like that was happening 40 years ago as well.
And then do you remember? So when you talked about the lobbyists, this all really started in the 80s. Um, so with the growth of cheese, like no one really went crazy over cheese like that, but they had this commercial, dogs. I think it was Kraft that did the first, and it was a commercial. You can go on YouTube and you can watch this commercial right now. And it was like cheese, glorious
Yeah,
cheese.
yeah,
And
yeah. I remember that.
it was just a
Yeah,
commercial
I remember
pouring
that.
cheese on
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
And that's when all the lobbyists, then the farmers,
I remember that.
the beef, it's what's for dinner. and the
Yes.
pork, the other white meat, and they
Right.
had all of these commercials that was continuously being bombarded
Yeah, I remember that
into
cheese
our
song.
heads. Yeah.
I remember the
So that
cheese
was
song, and I remember all those other
yes.
yeah, all those other things you were talking about, like
Yo,
beef
they
is
were
what's for
pouring it on
dinner,
broccoli,
the
the
pork is the other white
cheese.
meat.
Yeah, glorious cheese. It was the most, yo, it was the most decadent commercial that
Yeah.
I've ever
It was
seen,
showing
yo.
all these different cheese and all these different forms, like
Yes.
little squares of cheese
Yes.
pouring over
Yeah,
stuff.
the cheese cubes.
Yeah, the cheese
Don't be too
cubes.
healthy. Do you know you can pour cheese on top of that broccoli, right?
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
were just pouring cheese. It was a stretch where I wouldn't eat broccoli without cheese poured on it.
My kids have a issue with that sometimes, like, where they want some
The
cheese
soup.
on their broccoli. They
Mm,
love
that
broccoli cheddar
broccoli
soup.
cheddar
They
soup.
love broccoli cheddar soup.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Yeah.
so this was the that was the beginning of it. We were the beta testers. The Gen X kids we were the test subjects, and now they're just out of control with putting these. And this is not even, and this is not even. We're not even talking about the sugar and the salt.
Right,
We're
right.
talking about just chemicals, just the sugar alone now that's in these drinks and these foods. If you go if you go into your cupboard and your pantry or your refrigerator right now, I bet you cannot find anything that's in a box or in a can or in a bottle or anything that doesn't have sugar in it. Like doesn't have
Mm,
some form of sugar in the so we're continuously eating sugar as well, which is of course causing obesity and diabetes in small children and adult. And I think the RDA, hold on, I wrote this down for sugar. Sugar, the RDA is which is the RDA is the recommended daily allowances by the
mm,
FDA. The government says this is how much you should be allotted per day is 50 grams, which is 12 teaspoons per day of sugar. And that's from the Food and Drug Administration. But then you have the health organizations which recommend even less, like the American Heart Association and the World Health Organization, WHO. They recommend that 25 grams, especially for women, and 36 grams max for men, and that's to help reduce cardiovascular risk and
mm.
sugar. Now, there was a thing some years ago with the naked, remember, the naked green drinks, the green
Yeah,
goddesses and those
yeah,
naked
yeah,
drinks,
yeah. I remember that.
where they promote themselves as being healthy. And even though they are healthy for what they are, one serving could have 56 grams of sugar in one bottle, but we don't read the label. So you don't know that in this one bottle, 12-ounce or 16-ounce bottle, whatever, that you're drinking, you're drinking 56 grams. You're already 6 grams over what the FDA is telling you you should have in one little 5 minute or 2 minute gulp of
Right.
of juice.
And it
And
feels like that's the scary part about sugar, right? In
yes,
particular, is that it's in so many things that we kind of we're overdoing it without knowing it, and it even appears in things where you wouldn't really think of it as sugar, right? Like it
yeah,
appears in like like I think you and I had a conversation about this before, right? Where they put like some form of sugar, like they'll put high fructose corn syrup in something like ketchup, right? Like ketchup should be
yes,
made with tomatoes and what like
mm-hmm,
whatever salt and maybe some whatever you use to season,
mm-hmm,
but it certainly doesn't need to have high fructose corn syrup in it, right?
mm-hmm,
But that's a form of sugar, right? Like, so if you put that on some of your food, now you've added sugar to something that already has sugar, right? Like
mm-hmm,
you have a burger and you're eating bread, some enriched flour bun, and
mm-hmm,
now you're eating something that most likely also has high fructose corn syrup on top of it being made out of wheat, which is
mm-hmm,
a kind of a simple carb that's going to turn into sugar anyway. So
mm-hmm,
now you might as well have had a piece of cake by the time you're done, right?
yeah, and you
Um,
don't even realize it.
yeah, you don't even realize that some of this is done to make food kind of more addictive too, right? Because
Yeah,
although you can't really taste the sweetness of it all the time, but the fact that the sugar is there does still do something. Like at least my understanding is that it still does something to like the dopamine in your brain.
Mhm.
So you know you may not understand exactly why you're craving certain things, but your body knows, right? Your
Yeah.
body's calling for,
Mhm. For high fructose corn
yeah,
syrup.
yeah, your body is calling for high fructose corn syrup, even though you may not consciously be aware that you're eating this thing because it has some sugar to it that's causing you to have like a your brain is delighted by this, right? Like and
Yes.
you don't even know it.
Yeah.
So that's the sneaky way sometimes they like we were talking about the food scientists, they're
Yeah.
sneaking sugar into things in amounts that are not perceptible to your taste buds, but they're certainly perceptible to your brain, right?
Yeah.
Which is diabolical.
Yeah.
Um,
And they're just, I mean, they've done studies in rats um where they've taken cocaine addicted lab rats and introduced sugar into their diet, and they prefer the sugar over the cocaine, which is nuts. You know what I mean? The lab rats, and
hey,
they're like heavily
that one
addicted.
I don't know what's
So, they send up, yeah, they say that sugar is that much
I
and
have no
that
comment
addictive.
on that. I don't know what's I don't know what's preferable there. Like I don't know between the two. I don't I don't know what was crazy to prefer in that
Yeah.
taste test.
But this is also a reason why they introduced like going back to the McDonald's fries,
Sure.
why they would have the milk powder, basically milk powder in it, right? The hydrolyzed milk in it.
Yeah.
And the reason why cheese and milk products are so addictive is because we use a cow's milk. So what makes milk addictive is what's called the casomorphine in it,
Mm.
right? And every mammal that produces milk has like this casomorphine in the milk. So what it does is it creates a need and a desire for the baby to come back to feed when you're breastfed, to come back and feed on the breast. So it kind of gives you this addiction to it, but in a healthy way because you want to come back and you want to feed, and that's where all your nutrients is off the breast milk. But now, if you take that casomorphine in a human and replace it with a cow's milk, which is made for a calf, which are hundreds and hundreds of pounds for an animal that turns into being 1,000 pounds, the casomorphine effect is like quadrupled in it. So now you're getting an extra additive to make you something that's even more addictive to you, even as an adult, because you don't even realize it. So they're sprinkling the sugar, they're sprinkling this hydrolyzed like milk protein into food. And that's why there's certain foods that have these milk proteins. You're like, why would they put milk in it? And it's because of the addiction. It's like, what can we put in here to make them even more addictive to it? And food science is a thing. There are literally people in lab coats sitting trying to make you addicted to their product. They had people, those Popeye chicken sandwiches that came out, they're literally chefs and people in lab, food scientists that are coming up with these ideas trying to make it more appetizing and more appeasing to your palate to keep you coming, to make you addicted. They're basically turning us into addicts. So it's important that you read the label. So not only are you addict, but you're also eating materials that are like used in rubberized shoe and synthetic leather products. So
Don't forget the Popeyes. What was the Popeyes and tequila? Remember they had they had
oh,
the collaboration,
The Don
The
Julio
Don
Popeyes.
the Popeyes and Don Julio collaboration.
Yes.
Um, because everybody needs a tequila sauce on their Popeyes chicken, right? It can't not have that, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. The more we talk about this, man, the more I realize that this is really evil business going on, right? Like
Yes.
there's nothing beneficial about any of this. It's just strictly to keep you coming back. It feels like just like almost like a lot of other industries where it's strictly about having customers return, right? Like or keeping you addicted to this so you just can't resist coming back for this over and over and over, right?
Yeah.
Um and it seems like sometimes like I said, like I'm guilty of this too. Like sometimes I forget or I ignore the signs of this, but talking about it like this really drives it home that we need to pause and think about what we're buying and what we're putting in our bodies, because it
Mhm.
feels like the industry, across the board, the food industry is really interested in just getting every dollar out of us, not necessarily nutrition, right?
Yeah.
So,
And if and then it also plays into big pharma if you think about it, because if you're not getting nutrition, you get sick, right? If you
right,
start getting sick and you're not getting nutrients,
right,
then hey, we got these vitamins for you. We got this
right.
for you. We got that for you.
Right. So the Popeyes customer gets sent right over to the to the health industry.
Yes.
Like, so, then now we're cross pollinating our customer base.
Mhm.
First we'll make them sick for you, and we'll send
Yeah.
them over to you. Now they need all these supplements and different drugs and whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And now you have a customer based on our customer, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does seem like there's like kind of a wicked ecosystem that exists here, where it's just a cycle of people being provided the means to get sick and then being shoved into kind of a healthcare system that just also exists for the same for-profit motive, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's hard to when you think about it, it's hard to wrap your mind around, because it just feels like everybody's against you to a
Yeah.
certain extent. Like, not to, you don't want to be a victim, but it feels like every aspect of these industries is made just to keep you coming back and paying, and so they could drain your pockets, basically.
Yeah. It's hard to digest.
It's hard to digest.
It's a tough pill to swallow.
I see what you did there. See what you did there.
But if you get us hooked at an early age at like 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, right?
Right,
By the time they get older, by the time they get 30, 40, 50, now the pharmaceutical companies take over. From the food starts it off, and then the pharmaceuticals, they
right.
finish us off. Because
So
now you have
everybody eats off of you. Everybody
everybody eats,
eats.
son. Everybody eats, son. So shout out to Paid in Full. So now you have a customer, you start them out, you have a customer for 30 years, right? And then you have a customer maybe for 10 to 15 to 30 to 40 years if you're on a medication for the rest of your life, or some type of I take a multivitamin. But there's people out there that are on all types of that with diabetes. They need insulin. Insulin costs a lot of money, especially nowadays. We have people that ingest too much salt and sodium. That's another thing. The high blood pressure, all these medications. So you're developing two different addicts. You're developing a young addict, and then you're developing that young addict into an older addict. First with the food, then with the medicine. So this is something that, it's important. Gen X, we're all about that knowledge, son. So read your labels, yo. The
Right,
Jizza said that. Read the labels, yo.
right.
You know?
So would you say that that's the takeaway for something like this? Like, we're talking about the food science and kind of the almost like it's like a diabolical intentionality of of this industry
Yeah.
to market these things to you from the time you're a child, like you said, all the way to your kind of a victim of a pharmaceutical industry when
Mm-hmm.
you're an adult, right?
Yeah.
So what would
And
you
the
say,
crazy
like?
thing is that
Yeah,
they're doing it right in front of your face. Like they're not even hiding it from us.
but
That's the
yeah,
craziest thing. But they're hiding it in plain sight, so to speak.
but it's almost even worse than that, because they're doing it in plain sight, and the way they're using the science is making you're asking for this. Like,
Yes.
you are out there on the line for Popeyes
Hmm.
and
Yes.
fighting over the new, whatever the new crispiest sandwich is.
Yeah.
You're in the supermarket looking for these new items.
Hmm.
You're at McDonald's not only getting those beef flavored fries, but now you want the big arch, you know, the big, like, you want even the biggest burger that
Yeah,
that, that they have.
they just introduced a new hamburger, right?
Yeah, the big arch.
Son, that's crazy.
Yeah, it tasted all right,
Yeah.
but was wasn't bad, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes, yes.
They're marketing these things to us on purpose, you know,
Yeah, it is.
making these irresistible fries. So
Yes.
we ask for this stuff. So it's just a vicious cycle, man. Like you said,
Yeah.
they get you
And a lot of
addicted
the
on
potato
both ends.
growers don't eat their own potatoes because they're heavily sprayed with herbicides and
Right.
pesticides and stuff. So
That's a
they have
whole
their
nother
own.
aspect. Yeah.
Yes,
The whole
yes.
idea of like all the pesticides that are used and all the chemicals that are used, even in the growing process for vegetables, like even when you think you're trying to eat healthy, they're
Mm-hmm.
even getting you on that end too, because they're doing all these things to kind of preserve the growth of these vegetables and make sure that they're keeping away pests and they're
Yeah.
making sure that their crops are like resistant to whatever elements or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And even when you're trying to eat healthy, when you look at the supply chain long enough, you'll find that somewhere along the line, even our vegetables are being sprayed with things, and you got to look for organic or go to the farmers market for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody can't do that, right? Like
Yes.
that's the crazy part is that people don't always have access to alternatives. So all you have is your local supermarket, you're really dependent on them for your health and your
Yeah.
life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, and even when you're trying to eat healthy, it feels like you can't win because somewhere along the line, somebody's spraying your vegetables with some sort of pesticide just to keep bugs away.
Yeah.
But it's messing with your endocrine system, it's causing cancer potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's messing with your brain in ways that might cause you dementia. Like all types of things are happening that if you researched it, you might not want to eat anything.
Yes.
Like it feels like there's no winning. And
Like your
then
ice cubes.
right, and then there's the whole like this new science of making meat with 3D printing,
Mm-hmm.
taking like the cells from from animal meat and using that to print out more meat,
Yeah.
in the name of kind of conservation, and really not informing people properly that their meat is being not even genetically modified, but it's not sourced from an actual animal even
Coming
anymore.
from a
Sometimes, like
copy machine,
yeah, it's coming.
literally a copy
Yeah,
machine.
it's coming from a copy machine, and people could get deep in, like the deeper you get into that, right? Like there's an argument to be made that it's still the same cell structure.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, what do you care? If it's still the same cell structure, what does it matter if it actually came from a cow or if it was cultured from an animal at first
Mm-hmm.
and then those cells get replicated in a lab somewhere? It's still the same exact cells and it's actually the same meat. Almost like, a lab grown diamond is still a diamond. Like
Yeah.
that type of argument, right? Like where I could make it in a lab in a few weeks or I could let it grow naturally,
And let it
right?
grow naturally over 1,000 years, or you can get this cubic zirconium right here
Yeah.
for
And
half the price.
but it's gonna, but the lab grown diamond is gonna be a diamond. It's gonna be the same carbon structure, right?
Yeah.
But that's the same argument sometimes when I watch like little science shows and stuff like that about the lab grown meat. And I didn't even mean to get on for a rant on that,
Yeah.
but I feel like the bottom line with that is that people should have a choice and should be informed. Like informed consent is important, right? Like where okay, put that on the market, but let people know that it's out there. Don't put tricky words on there. Don't put slick
Yeah.
terms there where I can't really tell the difference.
Yeah.
I think people should be informed if that's a choice for them. Yeah, just let them know, right? It could be the same exact kind of structure, at a cellular level.
Mm-hmm.
That printed meat is the same as your natural meat that you get from whatever animal you love. But but I think people should be informed, and like you said, like read the labels but let
Yeah.
us know. Put it on the label in a way that kind of is obvious, right? Like don't
Yeah.
be sneaky and tricky with it. Let
Like
us
using
know.
words like natural,
Yeah,
um, derivatives,
yeah,
uh, proprietary blends. You know what I mean? Like these are all things that they use to trick you into thinking that even though this product has 35 ingredients, This one, it's from natural sources, and natural sources could be anything. Like a literally, a table is a natural source because it comes from a tree. So just think, just think about that. And this is the way how they work the system, and they get us to eat this food that really isn't food. You know, they have us with the seedless fruits. Um, I
What
don't
do you what do
quite
you th
know where I
what do you
always
think
stand
about
on that.
yeah,
Yeah,
where
that's
do
what
you
I was about to say.
that's an interesting one to me too, because
Hmm.
I'm glad you touched on that because that comes up quite a bit um in the online arguments, like on in the web, the
Yeah,
interwebs. That's that's a big argument that comes up where a lot of folks are against seedless whatever it is,
yeah,
right? Like be it seedless watermelon, seedless grapes,
yeah.
whatever it is, right? Like they say that if it's made with a seed, people automatically jump to the conclusion that this is genetically
GMO.
modified.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think these terms are getting used without a lot of information, right? Because there's a double-edged sword to what we're talking about, right? Like, so on one hand, there's kind of like an industry kind of like underhandedness to give us products that are not really food. They're addictive.
Mhm.
They're ultra processed. They're made with a bunch of like all different types of oils and chemicals, right? That's one. On one hand, I see that part, right? And
Mhm.
then we talked about even the vegetables that are getting sprayed with pesticides. So by the time they get to you, they're kind of contaminated at that point, right? And
Mhm.
and there's not much we could do about that. We're trying our best to eat vegetables and eat healthy sometimes, but there's only so much you can control, right? So that's
Mhm.
that's another aspect of it. But then there's an aspect of things like GMO, or stuff like a seedless watermelon or seedless grape, for instance. And those are the
Mhm.
ones I could think of off the top of my head
Yeah.
where those are the
Those
most
are like the
common.
main
Yeah,
culprits.
those are the
Mhm.
ones you see most commonly where people might complain like it's hard to eat a grape because it has so many seeds in it, or it's hard to eat watermelon sometimes because it has so many seeds in it. And I
Yeah.
felt like that led to farmers giving us the seedless versions of these things, right?
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, like not that I know all the science behind this, but there's grafting that could be done with vegetables and fruits, right? Like where you could take a graft of a fruit, any tree basically, and
Mhm.
clone it without the actual seed, right? Like, so not every vegetable and fruit needs to go through the same process of like kind of pollination and cross pollination in order to grow that. If you have like part of that and you could graft it and use it and plant it and actually let it grow without a seed, right? You're gonna get the seedless version of something, but it doesn't mean that it's been kind of tampered with, so to speak, in the way that
Mhm.
people might think, right? Um, so I just want to put that out there. Like I honestly like I want to, maybe we could revisit that one because that's a good
Yeah.
topic all by itself because
Yeah.
I want to go back and do more research on that, but I know for a fact that just because something doesn't have seeds, it doesn't mean what some people
Doesn't
think
have
it means.
any nutritional value or
Yeah,
that.
it
Yeah.
it, it doesn't, and it doesn't even mean that it has any less nutritional value than the seeded version of that vegetable or fruit. Like
Yeah.
I think there's a misconception about how you get a vegetable or fruit to be grown without seeds, right?
Mhm.
Um, I think people don't know enough about kind of agriculture and horticulture, like to really make a informed decision about that. And like I said, it's all about making informed decisions, right? But that's one that I feel like sometimes we go into conspiracy land about, right? Like when it comes to seedless grapes and
And watermelons.
seedless watermelon. I think that leans into like the conspiracy, which is easy to do because when you have a food industry that's doing so many things wrong and doing so many things that are straight up could be considered evil and just like I said, the for-profit motive is everything, it's
Yeah.
easy to lump everything into that category, right? Even things
Yeah.
that don't really fall into that category, you start to think that every single thing is part of that same
Yeah.
conspiracy, for lack of better terms, right? And
It's like
some
a
things are
cheating partner. It's like a cheating partner.
right.
No matter what they do,
Yeah,
you
you
always
think,
think they're gonna cheat. They come home 5 minutes later from work, and
yeah,
then you always
yes,
think, "Yo, where were you at? I don't believe you. You never, you never believe anything
right,
that they say. You know, and
right, right.
they should be telling the truth. Like, nah, the bus really broke down.
That's exactly my point. Like if somebody
Yeah,
if somebody has a reputation for lying, everything they say now becomes suspect to you,
so much
right?
so that you don't even want to look at the research yourself.
Exactly, exactly. You just jump to the conclusion that since this
Yeah.
person has a reputation for lying, that every single thing that even comes from that source is a liar, right? Like is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one that yeah, maybe we should revisit that one too, because I would like to like right now, just off the top of my head, I don't have all the science on it, but I know for a fact that just because something is not producing a seed does not mean that it's been tampered with in the way that you sometimes hear people talking about online. It's just not the case.
And I had some seedless grapes last week, dogs. You know what I
And there's
mean?
nothing and there's
You know what
nothing
I mean?
wrong with them, right?
There's
Like
nothing
there's
really in my eyes. There's nothing, especially if you're from like a food desert. Suppose you're from a food desert and you're from an area where you don't have a farmer's market, and you need some fruit. I'd rather you eat seedless grapes than to drink like grape drink or the
right, right.
or the have like
But
grape flavored
but
candy.
you
Yeah,
but you sometimes hear people like, "Oh, how can you grow a fruit without a seed? It's not
yeah.
possible." But yeah, it is. No,
Apparently it
it
is.
is possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's very possible. And there's plenty of vegetables and things that grow without a seed exactly, right? Like
yeah,
tubers are a good example, right? We could take a potato and we could take like the tuber out of, like the little tubers that grow from that potato. If you let a potato sit around long enough, it's going to sprout, right? And you could take those sprouts, plant them, and you can get potentially, if you nurture it enough, you can get another potato plant out of that, right?
yeah.
Stuff
Same
like
thing with lettuce.
yeah, lettuce,
Lettuce. You just take the butt of the lettuce all
right?
the way down. You stick it in water.
Pineapple,
A
yeah.
new lettuce will go. Pineapple. Yeah, all these
Yeah,
things
like
will.
avocado
Hmm.
seed. Oh, that's a seed. My bad.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. I was just trying to think of all the things as a little kid they tell you to just put like dump it in some water or sprout
Yeah.
it and then plant it. But yeah, I mean, but the point still stands that there's quite a few things that don't necessarily start or don't have to start from a seed, right?
Right.
That you can take pieces of it and you can grow a plant from just a piece of that particular fruit or vegetable, right? But anyway, like I don't want to
Yeah.
beat
That's
that to
another
death,
show
but
that we can go into. We can like really dive deep into that. The
yeah,
GMO show.
I think yeah, I think it would be helpful because that's one that I feel like I said it leans into conspiracy territory sometimes with people, and I hate to see like otherwise like intelligent and informed people go there because they're not they just don't have the information, right? Because it's very easy to go there. Like I said, like somebody's lying about something, everything they say becomes a lie, or everything this industry does becomes part of a conspiracy, right?
Yeah.
And that's just not always the case at 100% rate, right?
Yeah, I think that Bill Nye the Science Guy was really against it at one point. Like he was really against it, and I think that he had a change of heart about it. He went to like a greenhouse or something. They were
Hmm.
showing him how they make these GMO tomatoes and stuff like that. And I think that he had a change of heart about it, if I'm not mistaken. Bill Nye the Science Guy. I remember watching a video on YouTube about it, how he was talking
And
about how
that's
he
the
thought it
other
was
thing that
so
needs to
bad.
be defined a little better. I think genetically modified needs to be because genetically modified sounds like you're somewhere on like an alien spaceship
Yeah,
making chemical, like mixing stuff up, and then you're coming up with a tomato or something, right?
yeah.
But sometimes, like the way these techniques are done is based on ancient farming techniques, right? Just taking pieces, or you're kind of correcting for the best trait. You're taking seeds from the best tomato or the strongest tomato, right? Like you're
Hmm.
taking pieces of whatever that best the best of the crop, and then you're replanting pieces of that, right? Like so genetically modified doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's in a lab somewhere just cooking up.
Mixing oil with
Yeah,
water.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean polysorbate 80.
And emulsification.
Yeah, but
And
it doesn't necessarily mean that, but I can see how genetically modified just automatically triggers in your brain that somebody's in a lab doing something really evil.
yeah.
Like you
Hmm.
think of Dr. Robotnik
Yes.
making something to kill Sonic, you know?
Like he's making a seed and there's thunder and lightning going on outside of the window.
Yeah, that's
Evil
not
theme
really what
music. Yeah.
that's not really what that means. Because if that was the case, man, you wouldn't have like really important science, right? And I'll leave it I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So before we end, I do have a book.
All right.
And
I was hoping you'd have a book because I actually don't have a book this
this is an
time.
old book too. This book is 20 years old now, I believe. Yeah, it came out in 2006. It's called The End of Food: How the Food Industry is Destroying Our Food Supply and What You Can Do About It. That title didn't age well. So it's made by Thomas F. Pawlick, Pawlick, and basically it talks about the decline of nutrition, how tomatoes and broccoli and potatoes, they contain less vitamin content than the previous fruits and vegetables of the 50 years prior, 20 years prior, and the introduction of pesticides and additives into the food supply, and basically how food is no longer nutritious and it's more or less hollow calories. And this book was written in 2006, 20 years ago. 20
Wow.
years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
So, The End of Food by Thomas F. Pawlick: How the Food Industry is Destroying Our Food Supply and What You Can Do About It.
Interesting. Oh, before we go,
Yeah.
so just coincidentally, man, before we started this episode, I was watching an episode of Different Strokes. And it felt
Mm.
like a strange coincidence, right? It was an episode where Kimberly was eating a bunch of food to the point where they thought Arnold or I forget the little kid's name that came on later in the
Sam?
show, Sam. They thought
Yeah.
it was either Arnold or Sam eating up all the food, right? Like they started trying to figure out why is all our food disappearing? Like they were somebody was eating more food than normal, right?
Mhm.
They found out that it was Kimberly eating food.
Is
She
that the
had
bulimic?
yes. She
Ah,
had
the
she had
bulimia episode,
yeah,
yes.
she had just come back from school, like, I think she was in Europe or something, maybe
Yes.
modeling or something.
Mm.
She comes back home and they find that food is just missing, like whole sheet cakes are gone, right? Like
Yeah.
all types of stuff. And they found out that she was eating all this food and then she would go throw up, right?
Yeah, and purging,
And
as they
yeah,
call
she
it.
was purging
Is
it
that the
and
episode, not to cut you off, where she,
yeah,
like,
good.
dug into the chocolate cake?
Yeah, yeah.
And she, like, dug into the chocolate cake and just was taking, like, mouthfuls of, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, got
Yeah.
you.
She
Mhm.
ate a whole sheet cake in that one, like a
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
cake
yeah.
to herself.
Mhm.
And then she would go throw it up and it took a while for them to kind of tease out of her that she really felt like she needed to stay skinny, right?
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, wow, this is almost like 40 years old. Like this episode is almost 40 years old, like 30 something years old.
Yeah.
And it was just so relevant and I felt like it was coincidental because I knew that we're talking about food and stuff like that because the other aspect of it is like we said, like, you go from this one industry that's trying to get you addicted to food to, and then it kind of leads you to on a path, like almost like a supply chain that pushes you into other industries that you're going to need now on the healthcare side, on the pharmaceutical side now, like where now you're over here, because they said that she had to go to therapy for bulimia.
Mhm.
And I felt like, wow, this is like I said, 40 years ago stuff like this is still relevant today was the
Yeah.
point, right? Like to me, I was like, wow, this is interesting how when we were kids, this was an issue of like, food causing people all this type of anxiety and causing health problems and causing people to kind of do self-harm in a way, and need help for that. And now all the way to 2026, where we still are struggling with the same thing, like where we have one side of the industry is pushing us to eat all this delicious, quote unquote food. And then that's leading to all sorts of problems, right? Like where you're also being delivered the message that you have to be slim and trim at the same time, back to back commercials are coming up for the latest sandwich or the latest burger, right?
Yeah.
And right after that, you're getting the latest trend in healthcare, right? It's just an interesting thing, man. Like I just thought that was kind of coincidental that I happened to stumble on that today. Um, and I think it's kind of it's very relevant because of the fact that it's still going on today, all these years later. Like our whole lives, this has been an issue, right?
Yeah.
It's like a tug of
Yeah.
war between these different industries, and it feels like it's on purpose.
Mhm. It's like they're all in cahoots,
Yeah.
you know?
Cahoots, that's
So
a good word. Cahoots.
cahoots,
I like that
cahoots.
word. It sounds right. That sounds good. Cahoots.
Yeah, man. Oh, one more thing. One more thing, which would
Yeah,
be like
good.
a PSSS.
Yeah.
RP to Chuck Norris, yo.
Ah,
Chuck
this is an
Norris
interesting
passed.
one.
Chuck
Well,
Norris
then.
just passed, yo.
However, Let's talk about it. Now, we talked about this in I think our very first episode when Hulk
Mm-hmm.
Hogan passed away, right?
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
what my
Two
point
things can be
was,
true.
two things could be true, and that any intelligent person has the ability to hold two ideas, even two kind of almost conflicting ideas in their head at the same time, and understand that two things could be true at the same time, right? Where just like Hulk Hogan, you have a person in Chuck Norris that's not kind of, but I was about to say kind of, but definitely iconic, definitely a cultural phenomenon of our time, right? Like, spanning multiple decades.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's a person especially as a Gen Xer, like, even as baby boomers, like especially baby boomers and Gen Xers, Chuck Norris, right? Like, Walker Texas Ranger. You remember, I think it was, was it Game of Death when he was fighting Bruce Lee?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so like I said, he spans multiple decades in terms of his kind of iconic status and his impact on pop culture,
Mm-hmm.
while at the same time being a fan of his, you eventually grow to become super disappointed and almost angry and feeling like really disrespected by somebody that you once considered, or that you were once a fan of, right?
She
And I
was
think
once a fan of,
and I
yes.
yeah, I think to me, he falls in the same category as Hulk Hogan, right? Because I don't think you would be angry. I don't think you would be sad or disappointed or feel like, or have those type of feelings if you weren't at one point impacted in a positive way by the person, right? Like, if they hadn't let you down and disappointed you,
Mm-hmm.
and if you weren't at one point a fan, right? So that's all I have to say about that. Like,
Yeah.
that these two ideas can exist at the same time, and that intelligent people should be able to hold two almost conflicting ideas in their brains, right? Like, so yeah, man. R.I.P. Chuck Norris.
Chuck
However you feel
Norris.
about him,
However you feel
I'm
about
sure
Chuck,
you're justified in however you feel about him.
either
Um,
side.
yeah. However you feel about Chuck Norris, like, yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
justified in that, and nobody could tell you how to feel about it. But I personally feel like here's a person that is a cultural phenomenon and icon and all that stuff, spanning that many decades, like I said. But at the same time, you within your rights, and it
You're
makes
right to.
sense. It's logical to feel disappointed, angry, and sad, especially because you were a fan. You're justified in it, and I probably feel the same way. Like let's put it that way. Because I was, I was a big fan of Chuck Norris at some point, and
Yes, we were.
like other icons and other heroes that we've had over the years, you know, they let you down sometimes, right?
Yep. Yep.
So that's that's
Yes, they
that's
do.
what I just wanted to mention
And
that.
that's all we got to say about that.
No, I think we said what people
Yeah.
could, I'm sure people
Yeah.
could relate to what we're saying, man. Like,
Yeah,
we're
absolutely,
not
sir.
saying anything that's not true. Like
Mm-hmm.
we try to, we're trying to give you valuable information, and I think it's a healthy and constructive way to process some of these things, right? Rather than just being angry,
Yeah.
understand like why you're actually angry about this. Because if it's somebody that you were never a fan of, you don't care anyway, it wouldn't even cross your mind, right? Like, it would go in one ear and out the other, but it can also be true that this person has like kind of soiled their legacy in your eyes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you have to separate the man sometimes from the
From the
job.
art. Yeah,
And the
like, yeah, you
yeah.
gotta, like, like
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
this dude provided art like the same
Yeah.
way as a lot of our other icons and that have disappointed us, right?
That's just the facts, yo. So
Episode 32 is in the
this
can.
this concludes our last episode, episode 32, our latest episode. I'm sorry, our latest episode
Yeah, you scared me. I'm like, this is our
of the
last episode?
37th Gen Expertise podcast. Shout out to our now day 32s, our day ones, and everyone in between. And as usual, and as always, shout out to our day one. And as we usually say, you know what, man? You know what we usually say.
Since we are prolific.
That's right, my brother. Since we are prolific, we'll be back next week at the same Gen X time and the same Gen X place. And make sure y'all read those labels before y'all pick up some food, man. you know?
Absolutely. I
And
know I
if you're
will.
gonna eat it, you can eat it, but don't give it to your kids, you know?
Yeah, no more McDonald's fries for like at least 10 years.
Yeah, and no blue raspberry either.
No blue raspberry,
You know
please.
what I'm saying? No blue raspberry. So, yo, we'll see y'all next week. Power to the podcast.
Power to the podcast.
Peace.
Peace.